Hello, this is Commander Iva, and today we have a slightly different video since because I need to get something out. Uh, let's say a mini rant, I guess, and it's in the um, it's because of this Assassin's Creed trailer that came out recently. Um, to be frank, I don't care since the second game in that franchise about the franchise at large, but it's the portrayal of Vikings I'm tired of. Um, the it, it's basically a fantasy and not actually Vikings at all. You got in these huge axes and shields, and I mean they are extremely huge and thick, especially thick. Um, the shield edge should be counted in millimeters and not centimeters, and very rarely they were got a metal rim. If they had a rim, most likely it was in with rawhide or leather or something, or even just linen or cloth. um, Rarely it was in with metals. And also, why the hell all the fur and leather armor? You see it everywhere, fur everywhere, leather armor everywhere. It's quite ridiculous. We know fur warriors with clothing, we know it, but it was on in the inside of the clothing to keep you warm, not on the outside like you see in the trailer where they having this fur collar thing they got. I don't know if it actually existed, but we know at least it was not that heavily common. So it should, if they want it, it should be like one fancy guy at top, not everyone. And where the hell are the helmet? We know why. We know if you don't afford armor, but you afford at least one pieces of armor, you choose a helmet. Because you're using a shield, you can at least protect your body, but your head is not easily protected unless you're using a helmet. And we see this all the time. Vikings not using helmets in pop culture, and it doesn't have to be fancy a helmet as well. It just can be a poor ass made helmet, but you want to protect your head. And one other thing, fire arrows, really, in bulk that we saw. We know fire arrows was used because we have found fire arrowheads, but man, those arrowheads are actually ineffective when used. So idea of fire arrows was actually to signal people in the dark and not to set a fire on things or even kill people with it, especially against armored targets. And also, why would you use fire arrows in the dark in a valley against an enemy that doesn't know that they have been spotted yet? They can just look at the sky and see, alright, they know we're here. Shields up. And how on earth did they set fire on the longships? First of all, they have been at sea for a while, I guess, since they came coming from Norway to invade or raid England. So the wood is probably soaked by water, seawater, and in the scene it's foggy as hell. So everything is wet just because of the fog in the first place. It's just so ridiculous. And don't take me wrong, I don't care about Vikings poorly portrayed in like fantasy settings like Warhammer, Warcraft, Elder Scrolls or whatever. But Assassin's Creed takes place in our history, but with a twist. So they could have done their research, but of course they didn't. It feels like they have watched Vikings, the TV show, and basically said, that looks neat. But even on that show is also portrayed the Vikings extremely wrong. And in that series, they portray like the Vikings were basically the only ones who knew shield walls. For God's sake, everyone knows the shield walls, especially when in the Dark Age, the age of the Rome fell. Everyone have fought against the Romans and did know that putting up shields in a wall formation is extremely effective. So they should have known this. And also Vikings, it's a nitpick, but Vikings is actually just let's say Scandinavian folk going on raids, since their ships could easily enter high up in smaller rivers, that so they were more effectively um, doing raids at places that should not be typically raided, and also um, we got a period where you got Christianizations of European countries. So raiding churches started to be forbidden by Christian countries, but those countries or tribes that still were, in modern terms, Vikings, still raided churches. Even Christian Vikings did. So they got bad rep for doing so. So they portrayed more in a negative light. But we know basically what the Vikings did, everyone did. And also Vikings didn't had a writing culture like the Christians did with the monks who write down what they saw and stuff. So we mostly get one-sided story of Vikings, but we know at least some stuff that the Vikings write down that have survived, but it's mostly like rune stones or something like that, or like the Icelandic sagas where you mostly just tell stories. Then after the Vikings, it was written down for the most part. But yeah, I'm sick of Vikings portrayed in the TV shows Vikings or in the trailer, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer. I don't, and about Assassin's Creed, I'm tired of it. They are basically not Assassin's Creed anymore, just generic, say, historic based fighting game, I guess. Sorry about that. So I don't care about that anymore. And basically, as I said, I stopped caring since the second game in the franchise, excluding mobile games and basically the second game for the PC, let's say. But yeah, I'm sick of it. As I said, there are groups and researchers out there that do trying to get rid of this falsely portrayal of Vikings, but I guess doing a proper research on the internet is too hard to do than just look at the first Google page, I guess. Yeah. But I guess end of rant, and I see you the next time. Bye.